right, so I'll go ahead and get started. Um, so we have purchase funding for real estate today. So there's been a lot of questions about what can be done about obtaining funds to make purchases in real estate, whether you're doing like wholesaling, double closings, or if you're looking to do a project with different types of properties. A lot of people have been trying to find different ways to obtain that funding, and it's been hard due to different aspects depending on what's going on in your life or at the moment. So we want to take this time to kind of review that and see what some options are. So we'll be going over types of properties that people have been looking for funding for, the types of closings, and what are good fits to use what funding, how and when, where we usually get stuck at when it comes to the closings, and getting the funding, the different type of funding options that may be available, and how to get access to that. So those are a few things that we'll be going over today. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to just jump out and let me know, and we'll review that. So I think someone may have a little sound coming out. If you'd be able to mute so that everybody can hear, that would be helpful. Not sure who that would be. So purchase funding for real estate. So do we have any um, wholesalers out there or any investors um, who is exactly looking for different types of funding when it comes to real estate, so that we can kind of target that to help you the best? If you'd like to unmute and just let me know, I can kind of guide through that. So if anyone has done assignment contracts, like if you're wholesaling, um, sometimes there's a way to get around funding for that, because since it's just an assignment of a contract, you're not necessarily purchasing the property. So as far as funding there, you're not too heavy on trying to find funding there. But if you were doing something different, as far as double closings, that's something that we can look into. Because when it comes to double closings, you're doing an A to B contract and you're also doing a B to C contract. And usually, that first contract with the seller, you would be purchasing the property, which you wouldn't hold on to for too long because you're going to turn around to the B to C contract and sell that to your end buyer. But in order to do that A to B contract, you usually would need funds to do that. And we have something called outsource transactional funding that can help with that as well. For some people that don't have that out of pocket. So double closings is another thing that people use purchase funding for in real estate. So one of the things that people have had questions about is what happens when funds need to clear in escrow first. This is also something where outsourced transactional funding comes into play, because you would need to actually clear those funds in the escrow account before you can turn around and sell it to that end buyer. And that's where some people get stuck. Has anyone had any issues with that before, trying to figure out how to get that cleared in escrow first, if you've done any deals? Some people haven't, and that's fine too. That is something that does happen. So if anyone has any questions about that, you can let me know. And the biggest holdup when it comes to closing deals, um, you could say that a piece of that is due to either the proof of funds didn't go through, or the end buyer may have fell through and doesn't have their end of the bargain, or they don't, they refuse to purchase the property, or they want to back out of the contract. Some of those things happen. Also, on the seller side, sometimes at closing, the seller may change their mind about wanting to sell the property. There's something they didn't configure correctly with the numbers, or something doesn't look that great on paper. It could be a few things. So one of the things that we're going to go over today is how do you find the funds for that A to B contract in a double closing, which is something that I mentioned earlier. And this is a way, especially for wholesalers or other investors who are looking to do those double closings, because when it comes to selling it to their end buyer, they kind of want that, also with the seller as well. As far as the profits are concerned, they want to have that kind of disclosed, and a double closing is a way to do that, because as far as an assignment contract, the assignment fee would be listed on the contract, but as far as a double closing, each contract would be different when it comes to the seller and the wholesaler, and then the wholesaler and the end buyer. So that fee, that profit would actually be non-existent as far as showing how much. It would just be a purchase price, and that would be it. And a way to do that is with outsource transactional funding. So this is the funding for the double closings that I was just speaking about. So the way that kind of lies out is this first step when you would have a property under contract. So if you are a wholesaler, and you have a property under contract and you want to do a double closing, the first thing that you would do is send us the executed documents and the verification documents, pretty much showing that you have the property under contract. So we would just need to have that. The next step would be to we'll do the approval, and the funds will get wired to escrow for the deal for closing. So this is if you're doing wholesaling, but there's other funding options for people that are not wholesaling, and we'll get to that in a second. And then step 4, the escrow company would cut the check for the seller, the buyer, and the outsource transactional funding fee. Any fee that comes out of that will come from the end buyer's funds. So that, that is not required from something that the wholesaler would have to come out of pocket with or anything like that. That's all taken care of in the transaction. And step 5 is you walk away from closing with your profit. So folks that are doing double closings, you get your check cut from escrow, and that's pretty much it. Escrow pretty much takes care of all the paperwork. Does anyone have any questions on what that lineup looks like and how that works? Okay. So what about folks that are not wholesaling and looking for different types of funding options? So we have a few options here. If you are looking to do certain projects and you need hard money lending, we do have options for that, where if you're looking to, say, do a fix and flip and you want to turn a property around between 3 and 4 months, usually for hard money lending, the interest rates for a lot of folks that are doing the lending are a little bit on the higher side, just because the turnaround for when you have to pay that back is much, much shorter, as opposed to private money lending. The interest rates are not too much different, but they may be a little bit more lenient. And as far as the time frame that you're able to hold on to that is a little bit longer as well. So that may be for, if you wanted to purchase maybe a multi-family home and turn that into a investment property, that would require a little bit more time to get that money back. And that is something that you would probably look into that a little bit more for option 2. Option 3, some folks, if it's not a property that you're looking for or a fix and flip or a project like that, you might be looking for business funding. That is something that's completely different. We also have options for that. If you own a business or if you're looking to start a business, the business funding layout is a little bit more different from hard money and the private money. And we can look into that a little bit more as well. Option 4, which is for the double closings that we talked about earlier. That's the outsourced transactional funding. So that's if you are looking to just utilize the funds for just that period of time at the closing table, just to be able to take care of those transactions between you and the seller and you and the end buyer. And option 5, which is a tough one for most folks, but it's the most common, which is the traditional institutional lending, which is if you were going through a bank and had to deal with all of those requirements as usual as you were buying your first residential property or live-in home, things that are a bit different from hard money and private money and all of those things. A lot of people have found it difficult to qualify for traditional lending because they require so much paperwork, and a lot of people can't qualify due to credit scores and things like that. So that seems to be the least option for a lot of folks when it comes to real estate or investors. They try to wean away from option number 5, but it is something that is available if you need to and if you can qualify for it. So if anyone is in need of the outsourced transactional funding for wholesaling, when you put in a request for it, you can usually get a response back between 24 and 72 hours to see if we'd be able to fund the deal for you. And if there is any feedback or a need to be a back and forth, you definitely would be notified for that so that we can get you on track to get you approved. And it's open to individuals and individual wholesalers. It's open to folks that run a business, partnerships, sole proprietorships. So it's very lenient as far as who is able to be approved for that. Unlike other options that may be a little bit more strict, we kind of go on a case-by-case basis, as well as for the cost, any rates and fees. They are also on a case-by-case basis. You'll find that some options, it'll just be cut and dry across the board, no matter how much funding you're requesting or how much you need or time frame. So we like to, make it a case-by-case basis based off of what you have going on so that it makes sense for you. For the request, to make a request for the funding, we have a short form just stating what types of property that you're looking to purchase, whether it's a multifamily, a single family, apartment building, or whatever the case is. So it's fairly short. What type of property, how much you would need, and when you would need that by, and the when would be for the closing date, whatever date that you and the seller or the end buyer have come to an agreement with, that would be the date that we would need. So if anyone is interested in that or any of the other options for funding that you're looking for, definitely leave your email in the chat. Any emails or messages that are sent in the chat, it'll go directly to me. So the rest of everyone that is in the meeting won't be able to see it. So you won't have to worry about any spamming or anything like that. That'll come directly to me. And once you send your email, I can send you the information that you need for any of the options of the funding that you may be looking for. So whether that's the hard money, the private money, outsourced transactional funding, or even institutional traditional lending, or business funding, either one of those. just let me know right in the chat. If I don't have your email, I won't be able to reach out to you to send you that form to let us know what you're looking for as far as spending. So please be sure to send that. How to reach. This is all my information here. It's also in the chat. I do want to mention that as far as if anyone is looking for business funding, one of the things that have come across the board that has been about, I would say about 90 to 95% of the problem for folks that weren't able to qualify was the credit score. There are ways around that, and we also do have options where we would be able to weigh less on that and more on, say, if you are more experienced, or if you, depending on how much funding that you have out of pocket, or depending on what kind of project that you're looking for, we can look at it that way, because there's a lot of people out there that's looking for funding and they just can't get it. Or if it's a type of business that you're trying to start, and you need some startup funding, things like that, that is something that we can look into for each case to find out how we can get you to where you need to go. If the case is that you just have a really low credit score, please be understanding that a business credit score and a personal credit score are different. So if you have just started a business, they will most likely look and see that you don't have any credit for your business because it just started. And so one of the things that they would do is look at the personal credit score, just so people are aware of that, because a lot of people feel that if you just start a business that you would go off of that, but there's nothing to go off of. So we try to look at a few different angles to kind of make that work. If there's a problem with your personal credit score, um, there are different programs depending on how much you're looking for, and different options as far as if you're looking for a business loan, or if you're looking for a line of credit, or even on the personal side. Sometimes if you have nothing to show for your business, as far as income or revenue, which is a lot of feedback that we get as well. How do you get business funding with no revenue, nothing to show for it? You just started. That happens all the time, and that's where we look up into our startup programs and how we can get around that as well. So one of the things that you can do is utilize the personal credit piece and fund the business with that. And you can actually get that started with that. Another thing is that if you are looking to get like a credit card for your business and you can't get approved for it because you have nothing to show, you can also start off with a secure card. So if you are able to get a certain amount of cash and put that into a secure card, you can start that with your business. And once that is started, you'll have something on file for the business, which would start to get you a credit score. From there, you'd be able to get an unsecured credit card and a line of credit. That's another way to start. Does anyone have any questions so far? Yeah.
All great information.
Thank you. Um, has anyone just started a business and looking to find out how to get that started with business funding?
No, but I'm getting a lot of great ideas.
Well, that's good. I hope so. That's what we're here for. So, is anyone here into wholesaling?
Affirmative.
Nice, nice. Have you done any double closings before?
I have.
Okay. How did those work out?
So far, so good. I mean, I haven't gotten any complaints so far. But I mean, I'm looking at the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
I was on another webinar earlier between yesterday and today, and I like to listen to opinions of from all walks of life. And the some of the things that I hear, they're you know, for one day you hear one great idea, and another day you hear another great idea, and it's just it's really fun to listen to what other people have to say, and at one point in time you can share your knowledge with others, and see what's the best avenue of approach for the things that you have going on. I like to wholesale. I like to fix and flip. I'm into multi families, and I'm looking into other avenues as well. Um, and when you're looking at a property, it's really it's I'm always on the lookout for a great deal, but there's also things out there that some people would would jump on it while others would frown,
Yeah.
and there's there it depends on who you ask, depends on who you talk to. So you really got to be kind of particular about the information that you get and where you get it, because
Right.
sometimes the wrong information can go into a different hands. Um, I was talking to another investor the other day out of Detroit, and he's doing phenomenal with fix and flips, but he's particular. He doesn't touch he doesn't touch 2 bedroom, 1 bath homes because he thinks that they're less desirable than traditional 3 bedroom, 2 bath, whatever. And he's not going to sell as quickly as frequently as other properties. So it depends on who. Like I said, because you know some markets they're great, other markets they're not so great. But that's
Yeah.
the glory of the business. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so the more you network, the more you get to know people and what kind of how they run their business. You
Yeah.
just make the right decisions for your business with minimal risk.
And that's
That's
what we're all trying to figure out. You're exactly right.
absolutely. What about contracts? Do you go over contracts or no?
For wholesaling, you mean like the assignment contracts or the ones for the double closing, or you just mean all the way in general?
Or whatever, yeah. So whatever floats your boat. I mean, whether it's an assignment contract or if you're the bigger the better things. Do you do any commercial or no?
Yeah, as far as like as far as funding as well, definitely residential, commercial. Um, we look into all of those. As far as doing the contracts, usually if you are um reviewing any contracts or wanting to make sure that those are all legit, usually with escrow and title companies, they have the attorneys that actually take care of that for you, which is all in the closing costs. So another thing, guys, part of those closing costs is that those folks are doing their jobs, because that's what the closing costs are pieces that's what a piece of it is for. That the attorneys is actually looking through and making sure everything is correct on your end. So definitely utilize that when you're working with these escrow and title and closing companies. If you do not come with your own attorney, definitely utilize that. As far as us as like a consulting business, going through uh, each person's contracts, that's something that's a bit sticky because everyone could be in different states. They could be doing, wholesaling, or they could be going through a realtor, and then things get fuzzy depending on where you are. So you definitely want to check the guidelines on where you're doing your deals. Um, as far as assignment contracts, those are pretty short. So those aren't too bad. You really just need the seller's name, your name, and affiliates in there, so that you can open that leeway for your end buyer. Um, Listing any earnest money there, and the property address, of course, and any dates that come with. So that can actually be like a short 1-page thing. When it comes to assignment contracts, the double closings, you're pretty much doing the regular contracts just twice. Um, has anyone been familiar with the A to B contract and the B to C contract? How that kind of looks? If anyone has done those, or if anyone's done double closings, um, definitely have those looked over as well. The reason why, like I mentioned before, for the double closing is that on the HUD, your assignment fee is listed there, and you don't want to scare anyone away from closing if they see a number there that they're not comfortable with, which is why the double closings are a little bit easier. That's why the only downfall with the double closing is that you actually come with that. You need that funding first. And a lot of people don't have 150K or 800K, or depending on what size of the property that you are looking for, they don't have that cash on hand. And that's where the outsource funding comes in, which I mentioned. That is something that could be provided for you at that closing table. Just because you would only need that for that moment there, just to pretty much move those contracts around. And any fee that is allotted for that actually comes from your end buyer. So you don't need to have anything upfront for that. So technically, if you are wholesaling and do double closings, you make a profit from that deal without putting any money down. So if anyone does that, um, and like I said, if you need more information on that, please, my email is there, phone number and everything as well. Anyone looking for business funding, please reach out as well. We'll send you the link. Let us know what you're looking for as far as amounts or things like that. Another thing that we'll also have on another webinar, I just want to kind of throw that in there, that if you guys have been having trouble with your credit score, there is a way to do a boost with that. So if you if you need a 650 to qualify for business funding, but you are looking at a 630, there is another program that may be able to help you during that time. And it only could take between 30, 60, 90 days, or shorter than that, to kind of help your score with that. And that's something that we're going to have a webinar on as well. And it's on an upcoming date. I'll be sure to post that for you as well. So if anyone is interested in getting their credit score up, it is not a credit repair thing or anything like that. It is definitely something you might want to look into. We'll piece that together. Anyone looking for hard money lending? If you have a quick project, fix and flip, things like that, definitely let me know. We have a certain link for each piece that you're looking for, so that we have everybody in a row, so that we don't send you the wrong information. Is anyone looking for hard money lending anytime soon, or have projects that may be coming up, or even private money as well? We have folks that are contracted with our company that we have helped folks before, and we'll connect you directly with them. So, and also if you're looking for traditional banking, you can go to your regular bank if you're not familiar with how these other options work for you. These options here. Anyone have any questions so far about anything we've gone over any types of the lending or how to get that? Everyone okay?
I had one question.
Sure.
Yes. So I kind of put it in the chat already, but I wanted to know: do you guys work with VA home loans? I'm sorry, I didn't know if you guys went over that.
VA home loans?
Right.
Yes, we do have options for that, actually. If that is something that you're looking for. So pretty much how that would go, dependent whatever funding that you have or that you need, and you need assistance with trying to figure out how to get approved for that. Um, like I said, if whatever information you put in the chat, it goes directly to me. So I can get that information. So if you're looking for a VA loan, any types of loans, we do have options for those. If you have a specific time frame that you're looking for, um, you can put all that right in the link that we send you. It's very, very short. Um, and we'll contact you directly, um, have a chat about what it is that you're trying to do, what the project is, what concerns are that you may have for possibly not getting approved, and we can try to brainstorm ways around that, because we all have something going on, whether it's we have no money out of pocket, the credit score is bad, or we got a list of stuff, or um, debt to income, is out of whack, things like that. Um, each case we brainstorm and try to figure out how to get that done. Um, do we have any other questions? No. Okay. So, like I said, reach out, let me know what you need. I'll get the information right out to you, and we'll try to get you connected. And if no one had any further questions, please look out for our upcoming Zooms as well that we have, especially for investors looking for real estate deals. Also, we have a special webinar for wholesalers, as far as finding off-market properties. If you are having trouble getting your properties in front of cash buyers and you're having trouble finding end buyers, we have a webinar for that where we can get your property list that you have under contract in front of some folks that are looking to buy.
I was actually gonna try to ask you about that. If you guys have any way of finding off market deals that you have an email list for.
Oh, okay. So what we do have, what a little bit about what that webinar is that we actually just had yesterday, and we'll have another one coming up if you guys missed that. It's wholesalers with off-market property. So if you are a wholesaler and you have properties that you may have under contract or looking to get under contract and you're working on those, but you cannot find somebody to buy them, which everyone is looking for. Where are the cash buyers? I need an end buyer, things like that. That's where we come in and assist with that, because we have end buyers that are looking, we have cash buyers that are looking, so we can connect you with them, and we give you a chance to actually display and advertise the properties that you have under contract that you're trying to get sold. And so that webinar goes through all of that. Now, as far as, I don't know, would that seem something of your interest as well that you might want to look into?
Yep.
Okay, good, good, good. I hope, did you put your email down in the chat so I can get that down?
I did not. I wasn't sure if that was a group chat or not, because I didn't see anything else being typed in.
Okay, yep. So anything that gets typed into the chat will go directly to me, and no one else can see that. So your information, as far as emails or phone numbers or anything, would be safe. Does anyone see anything down in the chat? Because I just want to double check. But no, the settings are there, so that'll go directly to me as well. And in case you don't put anything down in the chat, this is all the information here. I put down the simple email there. phone number as well. You can also text that number if it's easier for you. So either any way that you want to contact, please do. The www.markrentalsllc.com. Well, you also see all of our programs there that you'd be able to look into in case you need anything else other outside of what we've talked about, whether it's for housing, whether it's for funding, investing relating things, anything like that. You can check out the website as well. So yeah, and if anyone has any more questions, feel free to shout them out or anything that you need from me. No, sir. All right. Well, I thank you guys for attending and hope you got some good information. And please let me know what your inquiries are as far as any funding or anything like that. And feel free to look out for our upcoming webinars. And if you missed any in the past, definitely look out for Marked Rentals LLC on Facebook, Meetup. If you came from Meetup, if you came from Facebook, or if you came from LinkedIn, we'll definitely be posting them there, and we'll be having them on a weekly basis as well.
So I sent you my email so you can add me to that list.
All right, looking forward to it. Appreciate that.
Thank
Anyone
you.
else? Please add screenshot, take a picture of my information as well as you can save that too as well. All right, guys. All right, have a good night, everyone.